So managed to get all the crepe jasmine ethanol pool collected to this jar. Now I'm just going to let it sit because I have to do a warm glycerin and water bath to add to it and then add it to a warm bath, but I have to run and do an errand, so I want to show you this. Here's the mullein as it's collected. Look at it sparkle. Now what we're going to do is I added 120 milliliters of glycerin, vegetable glycerin, organic. We're going to heat this up. I like to put it on half heat just to warm it up, but within about 60 seconds I turn it down to either low or melt. So keep it on 4 for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to add 50 milliliters of H2O. And this will help us know when it's hot enough. So I added the water not only for emulsification and to help suspend it, but I added it so I can tell when it's starting to boil. So as you can already see, it's heating up over here on the edges, and water is heavier than glycerin. That's why you see that in the center. It fell through the glycerin and it's laying underneath, just like ice over top of a lake. So the minute it starts to boil, we're going to pull it off and then turn this to low. That's another method I use, and it works really good. Because I have to scrape the rest of this up, and then we're going to add it in here, stir it around, and then strain it out into its respective jar. As it stands also at the moment, also, I managed to look into the winterization, and we have an H2O based mullein. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to emulsify this one and add it to a separate jar. Then I'm going to clean this out and put this on a warm bath while I go run my errand. So when I come back it should be totally broken down. And then we're going to do a glycerin ratio with that and the ethanol pooled one. So I already got the glycerin for this, but since that's water, I'm going to do a separate ratioed one with this and the glycerin. So this is how I'm working it. I'm going to strain that off and add it, and depending on whatever milliliter I have in water here, I'm going to add a 65% additive of glycerin, and then it should be perfectly suspended. That's a rough way of doing it, and it's better to just add the herb itself, but I got mistracked or sidetracked at the time of doing that. So as we can see, it's almost there, and now that it's finally heating up over top, let's put our finger in here and see. So it's just about there. I'm going to turn up the heat to high and see if it starts to boil in, and when it does, pull it right off. And then it's already emulsified through, and I'm going to add this mullein in, put it back on simmer, stir it in, and then strain it through. So for the moment, we're going to add this in. And then I'll scrape the rest of those crystals out and put it in here. That's what we got so far. And I like to use a baster. Ooh, gotta clean that off, hold on. Sorry about that, I had to get some of that crepe jasmine off. So we're just gonna stir that in. And as you can see, since I warmed it, it's emulsifying perfectly. This is exactly what you want to see. Beautiful. Now let's add the rest. Let this sit, because as you see it's steaming. That means it's just where it needs to be. I've noticed when you bring it to a boil then take it off, or let the water start to boil and then take it off before the glycerin starts boiling, and then you add the herb, it emulsifies way better than you simmering it on the pot. Same thing with the crepe jasmine. You know, other than mycelium, which I wouldn't suggest doing that with, because most mycelium is water-based soluble. Otherwise, you can do a winterization process and get the same effect compared to you using heat. I also used it for my opium studies, and it seems to work better when you add the poppy pods and the stem powder to the well, it doesn't work well with glycerin. It's better to use acetic acid, water, and lime juice. And when you bring that to a simmer, then you add it. Adding vegetable glycerin isn't really necessary for that one, but I noticed doing the same method to where it starts to a boil, then you pour in the plant material with the lime juice, water, and acetic acid, it works way better. So, as you can see, very pretty, good consistency. And the stuff you see on top is just some of the extra plant fibers that got through the extraction process. We're going to lose a lot of that through the double filtration process after this is warmed for a bit, and I add some more in here. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Here's another reason why I like to heat the glycerin before taking it off. Before getting it before boiling, it loosens it up enough that it just goes right through. And as you can see, a lot of that plant material has already been collected. There's just a residual amount. And we got a pretty good turnout here. A straight mullein extract. And then, like I said, when I get back, I'm going to keep this on a warm bath here, the H2O mullein pool from a month ago that's been through winterization for over a month now. And put it on a warm bath and then strain some of it out to some regular glycerine and then blend it to this, and we'll be good to go. That'll be part of the lung support and respiratory aid for this winter. And then when we get back later, we've got this ginkgo to go through. Looks like we haven't had any pool here yet, and I want to figure out why. I think this is the first pool, and I didn't get started yet. Then we already got one pool on the ginkgo, so we got 2 more to go, and then we're going to do the blend just like we're doing here with the mullein. We're going to blend these two once we're finished with 2 more pools on that. But next is this. We're going to evaporate this Malacca extract, and as you can see here, that's all the medicine and alkaloids right there that we need. All this is plant fat. So the rest of the phytoacids and the mineral and nutritional value is floating right here. But the alkaloids and some of the flavonoids are floating with all the alkaloids are right here, but the flavonoids and the phytoacids are here. And this is the plant fat. So we're going to remove that top layer and strain it out with this, and then evaporate that out and collect it and do the same thing we just did with the mullein and the crepe jasmine.